Good morning, TikTok. I'm Deborah, and behind me is my home, the home I've lived in for the past 23 years. And in just 4 days, the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department will be coming to lock me out and remove me from my home. Here's my story. Here's how I've gone from working in a corporate environment for the past 35 plus years for a telecommunications company, a tech giant, to becoming unhoused in a matter of a few years. I want to preface this story first of all by saying, and I think it's important to note, I am not suicidal. I am not depressed. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. I don't even drink except for the occasional glass of sangria because I think it's good for the blood. But this is something I felt needs to be said. As you can see, I've pretty much given away most of my furnishings because it is what it is at this point. But as I stated, I've worked in the corporate environment for many years and have had many successes where I've gone, where I've gone through great lengths to build big teams and have been very successful in that. I've had life insurance policies and stock options and things like that. And I'm not saying that to brag, but I'm saying that to let you know where I came from to where I am now and how I got here. I want to set the tone and make sure I state clearly that this is not about personal failure, but more about a systematic failure. I have been advocating for many, many years, and in my advocacy, it's caused me to become a target. And in becoming a target, my life has been dismantled bit by bit. And I want to start off with saying this beautiful, pristine neighborhood that I live in, and I actually love it. I was one of the first homes to move in here. I watched many of the other homes come up, but shortly after, I found that the groundwater and drinking water were contaminated. Through an environmental report I found on the internet just browsing one day, I saw that the community that I live in was given 5 years to clean it up, the ground and the drinking water. And so I reached out to the Homeowners Association and asked if any of my neighbors had been alerted to this. None of my neighbors had been alerted. And so the Homeowners Association referred me to what's called loss mitigation person. And that person asked me a few questions and never reached back out to me again. I wasn't sure why. Instead of just answering my question, she didn't, I was referred to loss mitigation. But I'll soon come to find out why that was. Let me turn the camera back around on me. You've seen enough of my home. I just kind of wanted to show it a little bit in its entirety. It's my kitchen area there. It's one big great room, and then the rooms spread off on both sides. So let me turn the camera back around. Once I found that the ground and drinking water were contaminated in the area, I reached out on the Nextdoor app to my neighbors to discuss it. I even posted a link to the Environmental Protection Agency water report regarding the neighborhood's drinking water. A couple of my neighbors reached out to me via private messaging and asked me not to discuss it openly because they did not want their home values to go down, nor did they want the community to be on the news regarding contaminated ground and drinking water. So I decided to back off a little bit of posting on the Nextdoor app regarding my concerns about the ground and drinking water, and I just took the necessary steps myself to protect me and my family. During this time, I was also dealing with some school issues regarding one of my children who had been diagnosed with some spectrum issues. The schools were suspending my child a couple times a week, every week, and was not giving them any support for the spectrum disorder issues. And so I decided to continue pursuing the issues with the school versus dealing with the neighbors because it wasn't something they wanted to hear. As I continue to pursue issues with the schools have it's called Child Find. And Child Find is where they are to identify children who have issues and help them, get them the support that they need instead of suspending them. Now, my child had a diagnosis since 2008. And so even with the diagnosis, the school was still not willing to give my child the support that they needed. And this was the Folsom Cordova Unified School District, the district where we reside in. But they continued to suspend my child over and over and over. As they were suspending my child, I was also dealing with some marital issues where, without talking too much about it, there was a lot of job losses in the home. And I became the primary breadwinner consistently because going from job to job to job to job, it became difficult in dealing with a child who had spectrum issues and dealing with marital issues. At one point, after another job loss, I decided that, it was becoming very, very difficult. And it was at that moment I started pulling away from my marriage because being the only person supporting a family became very difficult, and being the mother and being the person who cooked dinner every day and being the housekeeper, it was a task that I felt was pretty much becoming unbearable. One day it was presented that, the state of California has job openings. And I said, oh, wow, I've heard that the state never fires anyone, that you can work there. Let's help you to get on with the state of California. So as the good wife, I decided to fill out the applications and help get my ex-spouse employed with the state of California. And I proofread up all the applications. I filled in the blanks. I, did all the stuff that I would normally do because as a manager, that was my primary role in my corporate world. I managed teams, I managed people, I, held job interviews. I did all of those things. So it was something that I did well, and I wanted to be as supportive as possible. Long story short, my ex-spouse became a state of California employee. And that's where my story starts to continue from there. And I'll stop here and make a second part.